I'm pretty sure at this point everybody knows about Doctor Who, which is my most watched TV show of all time, by the way. But maybe not all of you are familiar with another BBC show, Merlin. If you aren't familiar with it, here's a synopsis scroll. Now you're all caught up, here are the rules. I can only deal damage to enemies using magic, and to be clear, that means anything in the magic tab of the inventory and scrolls. I am allowed to use potions, but only if I brew them myself. Any non-enemy NPCs are not allowed to see me do any magic unless they are magic users themselves. And since Merlin is the last of the Dragonlords, whose job is to protect dragons, I'm not allowed to kill any dragons apart from Alduin, since he can't be defeated unless the player deals the last blow to him. With that being the case, I'm only allowed to deal damage to Alduin once. Let's get started.
In a land of myth and a time of magic, the destiny of a great kingdom rests on the shoulders of a young man. His name, Merlin.
After trying my best to make the default Breton look like Merlin, and failing horribly, I have to escape Helgen without harming a soul, as there's nowhere to hide from view to bung some spells at these Romans. Although I did get to melt some spiders whilst Ralof was distracted by them. After escaping, I made sure to run ahead of Ralof just in case I was ambushed on my way to Whiterun. On the way, I activated the Mage Stone to boost the XP I get from using magic schools. I know there's going to be a fair amount of situations during this run where I won't be able to use any magic whatsoever, so having a boost to leveling is needed. When I finally arrive at Whiterun, I barge into Bumfluff's hall and annoy Farengar by pretending to be a peasant that knows nothing about magic. As punishment for this, he sends me to Bleakfall's Barrow to get the Dragonstone for him. I'm glad though, because this means I can finally start throwing spells around like a playground snowball fight. After clearing out the bandits, I had to free Arvel without killing the spider, because despite him being a cowardly little snake, he's not technically an enemy until you aggro him. So I had to follow him closely to make sure he popped his clogs before dealing with not just the Arachno bastard, but also the crackheads. When I finally make it to the Word Wall, the Meth King quickly regretted his decision to leave his tomb today, and after grabbing the stone from him, I deliver it to Farengar, and at the request of the Jarl, rush over to the Eastern Watchtower to investigate a dragon attack. But as the last Dragonlord, I decided to stay on top of the tower and watch nature take its course. After the dragon was unfortunately slain by the invalids below, I triggered the soul transfer and ran back up the tower, so that anyone below watching the affair would just think that the soul sailed swiftly into space, travelling amongst the Aedra for eternity. After this debacle, I decided that I'd had enough of Jarl Balgruuf and his dragon-hating bullshit, and headed straight to High Hrothgar from the watchtower. Because the Greybeards use dragon shouts, that technically makes them magic users, so I have no qualms when it comes to shouting in front of them. After being trained in the ways of the Dragonlord, I decided that maybe my outfit was a bit too mage-like, and would probably be a dead giveaway. So I made haste to Riverwood so I could earn some cash at the sawmill to buy myself some stylish new clothes. But my hard labour was interrupted by Mirak's little Manson family, and I can't exactly fight back because they chose to do so in a populated area of simple muggles. So I had no choice but to run away, because they would either follow me to a secluded area and I can play Zap the Moron, or I could give them the slip and return to work. As it turns out, it was the latter. After finishing my work, I head over to Solitude to buy a new fit at the Radiant Raiment. Now I'm looking a tad more conspicuous, I head to Ustengrove to fetch Arngir's bum trumpet. After preventing some necromancers from abusing magic, I put more smackheads into eternal rehab, enchant my new clothes, learn the Become Ethereal shout, do some pest control, and after I pick up Delphine's IOU, I return to Riverwood, to which I come face to face with the degenerate cultists again. This time though, I was able to lead them away from the populace and take them down a link on the food chain. Don't worry, I'm not done with Mirak and his little games yet, but for now, I have an attic room to rent. After Delphine reveals herself to be not just a thief, but also a dastardly liar to boot, we head to Kynesgrove to deal with another dragon. This fight was an absolute pain in my arse, because not only do I have to wait until Delphine beats Salakanir single-handedly, but she's also not a magic user, which means I'm not allowed to heal her to help her get through the fight with minimal setbacks, so I had to resort to just hiding in the town below and waiting for opportunities to heal when Delphine's not looking, because the dragon decides to attack me when she's knocked out. Luckily, she's the only one in the town, so I can just walk behind a building away from her line of sight and heal myself that way. Eventually, after half an hour of trial and error on Delphine's part, she finally manages to kill the dragon. And I found out for the first time that she won't talk to you unless you suck its soul out. So like the tower before, I hid from view to prevent her from seeing me devour the soul of this once extinct creature. After this, I returned to the Greybeards to learn the last word of the unrelenting Force Shout. At this point, I decided that I needed some new spells if I'm going to fulfill my destiny as Skyrim's saviour. But instead of joining the college, I decided that my talents are better kept as secret as they can be. The less people that know of Merlin's magical prowess, the better. Plus, I don't think becoming the Archmage of Winterhold will exactly hide the fact that I'm a powerful sorcerer. So I decided the best way for me to get some spells is by glitching through this wall in the Blue Palace and half-inching some spell tomes from the mage's chest. Now, Merlin isn't one to shy away from stealing when he needs to. In fact, he does it on several occasions in the show. So I'm not breaking character when I do this. And as for glitching through the wall, well, we can chalk that up as a forbidden form of magic, utilising the ancient threads of the ethereal plane. And by that, I mean breaking the game code. It's not unusual for mages to play with the laws of physics like a ball of clay in their hands. Now that my arsenal has grown to a more likeable size, I give some stuff to Malborn and head off to the Thalmor Embassy. One of the spells that I nabbed from the Blue Palace is called Elemental Blast, and it does an insane amount of damage, so it makes short work of these blasted elves. Combine it with the dragon skin power, and it becomes equivalent to the power of a nuclear bomb, because you can keep spamming it over and over again as long as you're getting hit with some spells. When I get inside the interrogation chamber, things got a tad complicated. Because I have no evidence of Etienne being a magic user, which means I can't use any spells in front of him. So I had to lure Relindil and his lackey through the embassy and away from our non-magic friend, just so I could put them out of their misery. Then when picking up Esbern's unpaid parking tickets, I had to wait for the Thalmor to put Malborn 6 feet under, before also luring them outside as well, just to get the trapdoor key. After freeing Etienne and escaping together, I make the pilgrimage to the Ratway to fetch Esbern for his day release. Just like in the embassy, the Thalmor hiding in wait for me were no trouble at all, and after having a nice chinwag with the old coot, I'm happy that I can still use magic around him. It makes a nice change. After dropping him off at Delphine's, we head to Karthspire to break into Cloudruler Temple. Before we get into the temple though, I have to watch Esbern and Delphine obliterate some Forsworn, since I can't use magic in front of Delphine. After spilling my blood on the floor and watching some paint dry, I pay a visit to Septimus Prime to get the Lexicon. Then I fight through Alftan to get the primitive VR goggles. Elemental Blast decimated everything and everyone inside, and that includes the Dwarven Centurion and Umana and Sulla. After running through Blackreach like my life depended on it, and grabbing the new 4E201 VR scroll, I learned Dragonrend, then I have to spam both Alduin and Paarthurnax with it to get them both to the ground, because Paarthurnax will attack Alduin for me, which is handy because I can't do it yet. But I need to heal him whilst he does so, because Alduin is a lot more powerful than him. This worked like a charm, and Alduin was defeated faster than I anticipated. After he flies away in embarrassment, I make my way to Windhelm to catch a ride to Solstheim. It's time to knock Miraak off his high horse. Upon my arrival to the Ashy Paradise, I head straight for Miraak's temple and meet up with Freya, and followed her into the decrepit dungeon. Initially, I didn't know she was a magic user, because she didn't use any spells for almost the entire dungeon, so I spent most of it watching her slay drug addicts and brainwashed yobs. Then randomly, and I don't know why she took this long to do it, she decided to cast oak flesh on herself. After that surprise, I rained down hell onto the remaining druggos. Then when we get to the first black book, I read it and get happy slapped by Miraak. Then me and Freya head to her village, and her dad tells me to get the Bend Will Shout so I can cleanse the sacred stones and free the populace of Miraak's influence. Getting the shout was easy. What wasn't easy was getting a dragon soul to unlock it. The plan I came up with in the end was returning to Skyrim in hopes of a dragon randomly attacking me whilst walking around, of which I had no luck whatsoever. That was until I spotted one flying around in the distance. Now that I had a dragon hot on my heels, all I had to do was lure him to Falkreath, then wait for the guards to take care of him. Which, as usual in this run, took a very long time. Once I had the soul though, I unlocked the shout. Luckily you can shout at the stones from quite a distance away and it still works. That's not the issue though. The issue is beating the lurker that emerges from the globulent puddle upon the shrine's destruction. Luring it away from the muggles was easy, but they kept on charging at it in an attempt to kill it, which meant I had to keep repeating the cycle of luring it away, attacking it, and then when they show up, luring it away again. Once it's finally dead, I have a nice chat with Neloth, and we make haste to get another black book. On the way, I blast another stone with Bend Will, and Neloth kills the lurker for me, which was pretty nice of him. When we arrive at Nachardak, we set about annihilating the foul degenerates that have taken up refuge here. When we get inside, I start the painstaking task of collecting the cubes to power the bookcase. I really hate this dungeon. It's way too monotonous, I can't stand it. So I elected to get through it as quickly as I possibly could. Neloth helped out with this as he makes for a pretty good distraction. Once all the cubes are in my possession, I open the case and read the book. And now I have to traipse through a horrible dimension governed by a being that starkly resembles a stain on a tissue used by someone with a severe cold. It didn't take long though, because I just ran through it like I was gunning for the speedrun world record. When I get to the end, I'm forced to talk to the floating phlegm stain, and he gives me the second word of the Bend Will shout, then asks me to betray the skull for the third. After talking to Freya's dad again, he tells me that he will help me willingly, but I need to cleanse the other stones, which led to another extremely long segment of running from stone to stone and either waiting for the lurkers to be killed by the locals or luring them away and doing it myself. Once the job's finally done, Freya's dad gets skewered and I learn the last word for Bend Will. Now comes the same problem as before, getting the dragon souls required to unlock the whole shout. First I watched the Forsworn burn the dragon to a crisp at Carspire, but Mirax stole the blasted soul from it, the slimy rat. Then I asked Arngir to locate a word of power, and lured the dragon from the word wall to Morthal. After waiting a painstakingly long time for the guards to slay it, Mirax stole this one as well. At this point I was fuming. Luckily I knew where I could get a free dragon soul that Mirax couldn't steal. If you head back to Ustengrav and place the horn on the altar, it grants you one free dragon soul. One down, one to go. Luckily, I found a dragon in Solstheim attacking a tribe of Reiklings, and to my surprise, they quickly dispatched it, and thank the nine, Mirax didn't steal this one. Then I read Waking Dreams and fight my way to Mirax. The Seekers aren't too bad to deal with. They can tank a fair amount of spells, but their projectiles are easily dodged. When I make it to the final chapter, I use my Bend Will shout on Saratar and hitchhike to Mirax. Now, obviously, if I tell him to attack any other dragons, that counts as me attacking them. So I decided to just let him fly me up to the jumped up little twonk without giving him any attack orders. When we finally get there, me and Mirax start throwing spells. Turns out, he's a giant pussy. Especially when I summoned a werebear using the beast stone power. He got absolutely eviscerated. After the skid mark gives him the old kebab stab, Mirax's reign of terror comes to an abrupt end. Then I return to Skyrim to tell the bigwigs to calm it down on the warfare. Getting Odahviing to not just show up, but to enter the trap took a tactile approach to say the least. Now remember, the rule is that non-magic, non-enemy NPCs can't see me do any magic, which means as long as I'm out of their line of sight, I'm all good. They might hear it, but they won't know it was me. And I use the opportunity while everyone's distracted to dragon rend his scaly backside whilst they are facing the other way. After riding him to Skuldafn, I make haste to the portal, and after slapping some sense into Eddie Hall, I recruit the Three Stooges to fight Alduin, which took them a really long time. This was made easier with me being allowed to use magic in front of them, because every single one, including Tsun, uses shouts. After delivering my only blow to a dragon in the entire run, I return to Skyrim and the dragons acknowledge Merlin as the one true Dragonlord. And with that, It turns out you can beat Skyrim as BBC's Merlin. I've not done a character themed run in a while, and I've got to say, I really enjoyed this one. Merlin is one of my favourite shows, and trying to make a character accurate run was such a breath of fresh air. Keep an eye out, because there's going to be another one of these in the near future, involving a blue box and a lot of running. And I can't wait. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, why not leave a like and subscribe? It helps out the channel massively. Plus, if you turn on the notification bell, you get to watch more juicy content from yours truly when it releases. If you want to support me further, consider joining as a channel member. You get early access to videos, and a mention in them for being such a legend. Speaking of legends, I want to give a massive thank you to my member, the Variety White Guy. You are an absolute star, and your continued support means the world to me. I can't thank you enough. If there's a specific video you want to see, or you just want to have a chat, drop a comment down below, and I'll see you next time.